Hello everybody, Tony Gunter here with Gunco Services, design and build construction and remodeling general contractors. I'm going to go over a service we offer today to investors. They would be the primary customers for this type of service, but wouldn't be limited to that. Could be residentialist as well. Anybody looking to buy a property that needs a lot of work. So I'm going to go over this real quick and see if I can't inform you a little bit about what we're offering here. Okay, what I'm selling, what I call it is a property renovation audit and cost planning service. This is not a property inspection. This is typically what would be done if you bought a property that was in such a bad shape nobody would lend on it, and you're going to buy it and you're going to flip it, or you're going to buy it and remodel it and hold it as a rental property or something like that respect. This is for generally entire property renovations and evaluations. Sometimes prior to purchase, sometimes after purchase. Just depends. Okay, the first question I have to ask you as an owner or interested client is what is the goal of the renovation? What your goal of the renovation is will determine a lot as far as the recommendations on the property. It doesn't necessarily change anything with regards to the as-is or as-built aspect of the property, but it can certainly have some bearing on what the recommendations would be. So your options could be: is it home residence? Are you going to flip the property and sell it, rehab it and sell it? Or do you want to do what we call the BRRRR process, which is buy, renovate, rent, refinance, repeat, being a cash out refinance? Everything depends on what your goal is as far as the recommendations being tailored specifically to meet your goal. That's what you want, right? Okay, quick rundown on this. This is property renovation audit and cost planning. This is the major headings on a plan that you would get on a property. As I said, this is a total property evaluation that includes structure, land, landscaping, everything. It's just as thorough as we can possibly be. The first heading would be property and structure as is or as built evaluation. Which is exactly like what it sounds. It's how is the property as it sits, an evaluation of its condition. The second would be a property renovation recommendation, property renovation proposal and cost planning, which would outline the proposed plan of action and measures to take achieve those goals that were stated at the beginning of the audit. Then a project summary. Basically wrapping everything else, all the different aspects of the property structure, the property land, landscaping, trees. Then the property financial analysis of the endeavor, which is basically just a cash on cash evaluation. It's obviously it's not super in depth, but it does take into consideration the market and the property and the renovations all together. We also cover in the final part financing options that could possibly help get the project off the ground and moving forward, and then some regular addendums. Alright, going over this as quickly as we can here, try to give some details because trying to convey some information here about what's involved and what you as an investor would get from one of these evaluations. Granted, this service is much more tailored toward the newbie, somebody that doesn't have a lot of experience or no experience, or possibly someone who doesn't live in the Atlanta, North Georgia market, but wants to do something in the area. Certainly, as people become more experienced and more knowledgeable and more comfortable with what they're doing, they may not find these as useful, which is fine. Look at it as training wheels. That's fine. There again, because we do cover everything from general contracting, licensed real estate agent, as well as actually state registered forester with regards to trees, tree care, tree recommendations, hazard tree identification. Okay, let's look real quick at the structure. Exterior structural report with photos. That is me going around the house, taking photos, and making notation of everything I see. Obviously, we're limited, both interior and exterior and everywhere else, in that we can only see what we can see with our eyes. We can't break open stuff and take a look and see what's wrapped up inside. Unfortunately, you certainly can after you buy it. After you buy it and we're looking at it, and then let's break it on open and see what kind of can of worms or good news we got to look for. It also includes a interior structural report with photos. The same deal. Me going around and making comments, notations. Also on mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. Also with photos. Visual report on the roof, which is actually under the exterior. We also include an online access to a full 3D digital model with based on photos of the property. We can also offer a 2D floor plan at an upcharge. We can also offer full 3D CAD drawings of property interior, also at an upcharge. We can also offer complete exterior siding and roof measurements, also at an upcharge. This part of it does come with a CMA on the property based on its as-is condition, as long as we can find some comps. We'll pull some and see if we can find something that's in similar condition to try to make sure the purchase price is in the ballpark. There again, if you already own it, that ship sailed, but that's fine. Some of this you can look at as far as the upcharges and stuff. It may not be a great value if, like for example, the roof and exterior siding measurements. It may not be a value to you if you don't have to do the work on the roof or the siding, and you're just going to flip the property. If it's something that you're going to fix and refinance and hold for a while as a rental property, that information may be handy to you. In that it's all this stuff is quantifying everything, so that at any time you need to throw a roof on it, it's like, oh well, wait a minute, let me pull the file and let me look, and it's like, okay, this is 27.7 squares. Second part of the as-built evaluation is the land of the lot. General observations with photos is applicable if there's something strange or just also some general photos. I include a property location map, which it's just a quick reference map. I find these helpful. This is something I pulled over from my forestry experience. A lot of times I'd be selling a tract of land, and I just found it very helpful when I was working with people to include a location map, which basically just like 30,000 foot view where in general the property is. So it's like you look at it and say, okay, this is in Lawrenceville, or this is in Smyrna, or it's like, I don't want to go there, or someone say, hey, this is my backyard. With regards to contractors, and I'll get into that later. It's a nice piece of information to have later on if you're working with contractors, just to have that information. Also, provide a land and topo map of the property as I can find it, as available. As long as I can get it online somewhere, I include that so you've got it. Also do a FEMA flood map designation search and provide that information. Third part of as-built is the landscaping, retaining walls, trees, and drainage. There again, general observations, photos as applicable. Take photos of retaining walls, make comments on it as applicable. Same with drainage and with trees. There again, with me being a registered forester, I'm looking for hazard trees. I'm looking for trees that are going to cause a problem. Either, basically, it's life or property. That's what it is. Is it going to cause a potential risk to life or property, and make those evaluations on those trees and make some recommendations, and then also in the other parts cover some of the estimates on doing the recommended tree work. All right, moving on to Section 2, Property Renovation Proposal and Cost Planning. Starting in the same order as we did the evaluation, as-is evaluation. Starting with the structure, includes general recommendations on what needs to be done to optimize the property based on the stated goals beginning of the operation. If your goal is flip or you're gonna hold it as a rental property, which maybe we do some other stuff, like we put in different flooring, or we we put more fire retardant resistant drywall on the kitchen, or whatever. We harden it up for rental use. Also included on that is a detailed scope of work, which is item by item, line by line, what's gonna happen, what needs to happen. The units we're looking at, a complete breakdown on what the work is, as well as what the materials are and how much is needed. All that pulls back to the scope of work, having the scope of work. But then the number C, the cost breakdown, throwing in acquisition cost, and then materials cost, the labor cost projections, overhead cost, and then a summary of all the associated structural renovation costs. You might ask, what's project overhead cost? The best definition I can tell you on project overhead stuff is things that have to get done, things that have to be paid for in order for the project to go forward. But when the project is completed, those things do not remain attached to the property. Those things leave. Examples would be a temporary power pole and hookup, a porta potty, dumpsters, dumping dumpsters, anything else that is required to, like I said, make the job happen, but it doesn't remain attached to the property in any way. It ends up getting pulled up. That also includes equipment rental, all kinds of things that don't remain attached to the property. Number 2 of the property renovation proposal and cost planning, the land. General recommendations on things that might need to be addressed. Typically this is not a lot of stuff involved in this. If it's a reasonable piece of land, particularly an existing residential piece of land, you're not going to have too much other than take a chainsaw to it, basically cutting everything back. But you never know. You can have drainage issues and other things too. We check for environmental hazards as best as we can. Everything is just like hidden damage and hidden issues behind sheetrock or behind siding that can't be seen. There may be some buried fuel oil tanks, or you don't know, especially if you start getting into the older parts of Atlanta. Further in you get, the more history that dirt under you has. Same in any city. See how easy we have it. You want to really find out, go to Rome, Italy, see what it's like to do a construction project. They can barely get through enough to put a foundation up without hitting artifacts. Here it's trash. People filling in ravines, filling in all kinds of stuff with tree logs and old cars and old tires and all kinds of crap. And anyway, got off on a tangent. Part 3 of renovation cost proposal planning is landscaping and trees. General recommendation on landscaping, including a detailed scope of works, photos as applicable, and a landscaping cost breakdown associated with that too, as far as landscaping detailed scope of work, materials cost, labor, project overhead cost, landscaping cost summary. Same structure. All these things won't apply though. It's very case by case. Also, the tree cost breakdown, detailed scope of work with photos as applicable. Also on the landscaping scope of work with photos as applicable. On the trees, the photos of the work plus a tree cost estimate to get everything straightened up on the landscaping and the trees. Section 3 is a project summary. This is project cost summary is the first part, covering everything, be it structure, land, total project. A CMA is also performed on the finished product to judge what its valued be in the market at that given time. As with everything, it's everything is at that given time. Also, a scope of work broken down by each trade with the data, and a breakdown without the data. Data being number of hours, materials, stuff like that. You need one that's got the data with it, so you can look and you can have an idea of how much time, how much manpower is going into this, and the materials going into it. But if you're wanting to do this work yourself and sub it, or mainly, do some of this stuff that doesn't need necessarily a general contractor running the show, you want to do this stuff yourself and basically be the general contractor, because someone's going to be, either you are or I am, or someone else with a license or whatever. Someone's going to be in charge. But you can take the scope of work without the data, and you can use that to put together basically an invitation to bid, a bid packet for this contractor or for this type of contractor or the other kind of contractor. All that's covered in the Addendums package that covers the different things to put together to put together an invitation to bid. All right, like I said, it also gives you a quick labor breakdown and a materials list, and I briefly cover the concept of materials and labor's markup. That's basically a short explanation. That's how a general contractor makes their money. If it's not spelled out, something different. I mean, that's how they make the money. That's how you end up paying them for their knowledge and expertise. Of course, I'm talking about a licensed general contractor. But that's how they make their money. They're doing markups on the products and the materials and the labor. That's the way it works. But if you know those numbers, you can at least be knowledgeable about the situation going in, because it all comes down to quantifying the work and putting numbers with it, putting a numeric value on it. Value not necessarily mean dollars. Section 4, property financial analysis. This is a simple cash-on-cash financial analysis. Some of this is going to be goal dependent. Some of this is not going to apply at all. If you're doing a retail residential remodel, we're not going to worry with a cash on cash or any other kind of financial analysis. You can certainly do something like a before and after CMA with regards to, let's say you're going to put on a big old deck on the back of your house. So we'll design the deck, and we can do a before and after CMA to see. It's like, okay, well, we're going to spend $35,000 on this deck, but it's going to, based on the houses in the neighborhood and other immediate area, that $30,000 deck is going to raise our property value $50,000. Well, there you go. That is a financial analysis of doing the deck. You can do the same thing for a kitchen. You can do the same thing. Do the same thing for a bathroom. It needs to be something pretty. You need to be swinging a big hammer. Let's say that. Financing options. We also cover some financing options, including purchase and rehab loans, being hard money. We're registered brokers with various lenders for hard money loans for buy and fix and flip. Also buy, rehab, and hold. Or my favorite, you do it with cash, and then you cash out and hold it, a 30-year note. But we got all that kind of stuff available. What we're working with is strictly commercial money. If the property's not held in an LLC, we're not going to touch it. We can't help you. We can't help you. With regards to financing, that would be your licensed mortgage loan originator that does conforming loans with Freddie and Fannie. That's the 100% retail home buyer financing option. We don't touch that. We're working with commercial money to do all this stuff. So you need to own your property in an entity, not personally, being like an LLC. That's what I do. That's what I do personally. I hold properties in LLC, and use commercial money for for the wheeling and dealing. You know, it makes things happen. It's not as cheap as financing using conforming money, but it's not as rigorous either. Things get done, you make things happen, you move on. You know, if that's what your goal is, if you're looking for some velocity, in my opinion, you're gonna have to look at commercial money at some point, just because your personal debt to income ratio is gonna limit you at some point, unless you're Bill Gates or something like that. All right, regularly included addendums. I have a invitation to bid packet. Basically, it's a list of what to include, some of the stuff I give you, of how to build an invitation to bid that you can send out to contractors or mainly subcontractors. You know, let's say you get a property that it's a lipstick job. All you need to do is an interior cosmetic plus put a roof on it. Let's say you got that situation. You could GC that as long as there's no structural, no electrical, anything like that, where you're doing cosmetic on the inside, and then all you need to do is get a roof on it. That's something you don't necessarily need a general contractor for. This information pack is going to have all that information together for you, so you know how many square foot the floor is, how many square feet the walls, all the walls are, how many square foot the ceiling is, how many linear feet to trim. You get what I'm saying? So you know you've quantified it. It's been quantified before you go into the market looking for a contractor or subcontractor. Because frankly, in my opinion, one of the worst things you want to do is go into the situation, the contractor asks you, well, what do you want to do? And you're like, I'm not sure. Just go ahead and give me a checkbook. I mean, get it over with. Go in with it quantified. Know what the deal is. I mean, it's just like a lawyer going to court. You don't go to court as a lawyer and ask a question unless you already know the answer. You just want everybody else to hear it. That's the way I look at it anyway. So I also cover a guide to working with contractors. This is just, hey man, this is just me chewing it over. My opinions. It's not the gospel by any stretch. I also have a glossary of terms I put together. You know, this is not anything close to in-depth kind of contractor verbiage, wordage, whatever. But it's some things to help with you trying to manage this stuff as an investor, trying to get a few deals down and shed the greenhorn. You know. Also, I got in there Guncoservicesllc's assumptions, allowances, and limitations. Stuff like I can't see through walls. I can't leap tall buildings. I can't know things I don't see, and other stuff. Prices change. Everybody has a different way of doing things. An estimate and time frame, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, reach out, get in touch. If you got something, I'm free to talk to you about it. Easy to talk to. Happy to hear what you got going on and see if there's somewhere we can overlap, or somewhere we can overlap beneficial for everybody. So give me a call, Tony Gunter, Gunco Services, and I'll put my contact information with the notes, and look forward to hearing from you. Appreciate it. Bye.